A clientless VPN is simply a type of VPN that doesn't require an application on the endpoint. So let's illustrate that through an example. We have an endpoint here. This is my, let's just say it's my iMac. It's my endpoint device. And this here is my remote network. Let's say I've got a little server here. I've got a web server here. I've got another database server here. I've got something else here. I've got another client machine here. Wherever it is, this is my internal network. Now, internal network is protected usually by, it's got, a firewall, routing equipment. But to simplify the illustration, firewall, we've got, in fact, let's just do a square. We've got a firewall here. This is a firewall. Now, typically, firewalls are used as gateway devices for VPNs, or we could have a dedicated VPN, but that is not a common configuration these days. So let's go with the more common era usage. So I've got a firewall here, and this is acting as my gateway. It's acting as the gateway, which is essentially, it's allowing access to the remote clients. Now, what would normally happen in a VPN solution? I'd download some client software here. The client software would connect to this gateway, and it would get network access, meaning that we would be able to access, we would be assigned an IP address. So let's say this was, let's say these devices were assigned an IP address of 172.16.something.something. This device would receive an IP address when it connects in 172.16.5.56. It'd receive an IP address for this network, which means that it would almost be like the device is part of the network. However, with a clientless VPN, it's a method of giving application access only, rather than giving full network access. So it's got a few benefits. One of the benefits is that the client does not need to install the application. So that's useful if you've got contractors, you've got remote workers, perhaps that can't install an application on their particular device for whatever reason. Then they could still have access to the corporate applications through a web browser. So here's what happens. A web browser, so here, in fact, what we're going to do, we're going to zoom into the web browser here. Let's just say it's Chrome. We've got our little buttons here. And yeah, that's a little web browser, right? Now, the web browser forms a connection, an SSL connection, with the gateway. And the gateway forms a connection with the whatever application. So let's say there's a little application sitting here, and the gateway will form a connection with this specific application here. And let's say you want to give access to this application here, the gateway will form another connection with this application here. Now, in this instance, what we've done, we have transformed this gateway into what's known as a reverse proxy. Lovely writing. Reverse proxy. So this firewall, this device here that's acting, well, the firewall that's acting as a reverse proxy is now fetching the application, and then through secure tunnels, secure communication tunnels, displaying it in the web browser of the connecting device. So this was something that I initially struggled to get, but after some reading and after some whiteboarding to myself like this, I managed to understand it. So hopefully, if you struggle to understand what Clientless VPN and what it means to be a reverse proxy, hopefully this video is of some help. So reverse proxy, you can look them up. They sit in front of servers. They sit in front of the servers, and they serve the servers. So when a request comes through to the reverse proxy, the proxy obviously proxies it. It stops the traffic, and it says, "Okay, Mr. Chrome browser, you made a request. So you said you want application A." So what it does, it goes to application A in the server A, whatever, and then it displays that back to the web browser. So how is it different from normal client VPN? Well, with this method, you're giving layer 7 access, because you are only giving access to the specific application. The user is not assigned an IP address from the network, nor is it able to perform network scans, nor is it able to laterally traverse into any other server, any other device within the network. So that's the biggest difference. And it's more secure and it's more closer to a zero trust strategy, because instead of giving the remote client access to all of the devices within a network, what you've said, we can only give access to a certain device, certain number of applications. And how that's done is within the portal. So obviously when this guy connects to the internet, there should be an internet here. Hopefully that is clear. I did miss that out. When this guy connects to the portal itself, it should usually, clientless VPN providers, they provide like a dashboard giving like something like this. You can check out my next video, which will be talking about Global Protect clientless VPN, the Palo Alto solution. They give a dashboard like this, and they allow you to select which applications you like to connect to. And whatever you select, whatever's available here is often a limited, restricted number of applications that you can have access to. So that's the basics of how a clientless VPN works. One more thing before I end. The downsides of clientless VPN is that it's only available for web-based applications, and that's because it's done through a web browser. So the web browser is like acting as the VPN client, even though it's not really a VPN client. It's because it's responsible for forming that connection and then rendering and displaying the output. So that wraps up the basics on what is a clientless VPN. It's a very rudimentary introduction, but we hope that helps. And if there are any questions, do feel free to pop them in the comments. Thank you very much.